All right. Welcome back to the Community Collective Podcast. I am Johnny B. Good, joined by my man,
Travis Howell.
Oh my gosh, we're back.
We are.
Well, the beauty of it is we were able to have a little bit of a conversation, had some fun last night with the Community Collective After Dark.
It was good. It was nice to be back, getting that cadence again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having our little Lover's Lane conversation. I saw another one of those posts, but that's for another conversation for another day.
You go looking for those.
I do all sorts of things.
Yes.
But that is absolutely the case. So I'm excited today. We have our first guest of 2025 in office. We're all on video.
We are.
You get to see our beautiful smiling faces.
It is. Isn't it nice? Especially when you bring, it's a good looking group, right? So
a great
you can't
looking
feel bad
group.
about this one bit.
Well, and I think, what we wanted to do is have more personal conversations. We really wanted to engage kind of face to face. Because we did the Zoom thing and that was okay.
It did its job. It helped us get started and understand the process. It did.
Well, let me say the audio when doing things over Zoom is one of the most frustrating things on the planet. So here, at least in my office, I get to micromanage the audio and the video. I get to do the things.
Don't worry. Sometimes when at our township meetings, we have the microphones. And if I get where I need to twitch a little bit, I'll have my cookie pen.
Yeah.
And other people, I know other people do that too. And
that's me right here.
The individual that helps record our meetings has mentioned, please keep pens away from the microphones.
Yeah.
And I feel like
we're not doing this.
Right? Exactly. So I feel like on Zoom, I was doing that too. Or as I was fidgeting or I was at my desk doing some stuff.
Or we'd be at home in our respective homes because we started kind of during COVID.
We did.
And I'd have the kids banging on the door. I'm like, oh my God, you guys, please.
Or the dog barking. Yes.
That was a common occurrence for sure. But that's all right. We're getting better and we're in a great spot. We're in the Remax Edge Studios today. So we're back
great location.
For a good time. Yeah, we're having fun. I get to do a little bit of work, also do a little bit of podcasting. It's the best of both worlds,
it really
right?
is. It's nice.
It's fantastic. So I'm going to let our guest introduce himself. Welcome to the show, my friend. Why don't you give us your name, your title, and what we're going to talk about today?
So I am Dominic Gutierrez. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Dominic Gutierrez. I'm the marketing director with the Flint Firebirds, and I'm really looking forward to speaking with you guys today.
Dude, this is going to be great. So one of the things that most people don't realize is that we have a professional hockey team sitting right here in this county.
We do.
And so I'm super excited when I kind of go through these periods where I don't always know what to do to keep the kids engaged. And then I'm like, oh, dude, we're going to a hockey game.
Yes.
This is going to be a blast. We're going to go check out some OHL.
Yes.
And the kids are always absolutely in love with it. And there's one thing, I grew up going to watch the Flint Spirit play.
Oh boy.
Back in the 80s when it was basically just a smash and bash league. I think you could still smoke in the IMA.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like the Paul Newman movie with the
Youngblood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe even Slapshot.
Slapshot too.
Yeah.
Slapshot.
Just
there you go.
Yeah.
Slam into the walls, fighting. Oh,
or the more up to date one, Goon.
Yeah, I watched that one the other day. Oh,
Goon. It's not something I'm going to let my kids watch, but it is pretty entertaining.
Yeah,
I'm sure go to Firebirds game. It's a lot better quality hockey. Still some good entertainment, I'm sure, as well. I mean, it's sports, right? The athletes get into it. They gotta.
But it's a little less beer league.
Yeah.
And a little bit more professional, which I absolutely love.
You know what? I played adult league hockey, and there's not a chance that I would want to step foot on that ice and even try, to say the least.
Oh.
So I mean, watching these kids play, it's truly amazing to see the talent that they have at 16 to 20 years old. And I mean, I wish I had 1% of it. To say the least.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you. One of the things that I didn't realize until I started really kind of digging into what happens at the Firebirds, like these are high school kids, some of them.
Yep.
Right. So you said the age range is 16 to 20.
Yep, that's correct. So they're drafted at the age of 16 or 15 into this league.
Wow.
I mean, most of the kids that we have on our roster are primarily from Canada. There's a few U.S. kids as well.
Sure.
And then we also have the opportunity to have 2 European players.
Nice.
So we have one player from Latvia and then another one from Slovenia.
Wow.
I want to say. So it's pretty interesting. So they're drafted into this league at 15 years old. they're able to play until they're 20. But they're technically considered graduate players at the age of 19.
Okay.
And then we're only allowed 3 20-year-old players, which are considered overagers.
Wow.
That
20 and overage. Can you imagine?
Wild?
That is.
So is the ultimate goal to go to like maybe one of the farm teams like the Grand Rapids Griffins, stuff like that? Is that kind of like the next path there? Or is this more like a G League type aspect?
So it's considered the premier developmental league for the NHL.
Okay.
That's how we interpret the league. That's how the OHL as a whole interprets the league as well. So they're drafted into this league at 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They become NHL draftable at 18.
Okay.
So for example, this year I believe we have 6 or 7 NHL draft picks on our roster this year.
Wow.
Awesome. And then after that, they're able to play their 19-year-old season.
Yep.
And then if they are drafted, they can go play in the Grand Rapids Griffins organization or the Detroit Red Wings organization.
Okay.
Depending on where they're drafted at.
Okay.
So it's a very complex, dynamic way of development for the NHL. It's nothing like, let's say, Big Ten Michigan football is to the NFL. Once they're drafted, they're gone.
Right.
And then they have to make the 53-man roster, so on and so forth. I would almost compare it to what Major League Baseball is in their farm league system.
Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a few different tiers to the NHL. There's obviously the NHL level,
right?
The top 1.1% in the world.
Sure. Yeah.
And then there's the AHL, the American Hockey League. So where Grand Rapids Griffins would play.
Okay.
And then there's the East Coast Hockey League, which falls right underneath the AHL, which they all have NHL affiliation.
Okay.
Or majority of them, I should say.
Sure. Wow, that's amazing. Well, and didn't Todd Bertuzzi's son play on the Firebirds too?
Yeah, he did. Tag Bertuzzi played on our team during the 21-22 season.
Okay.
Because I remember all the way to the Western Conference Finals. So, yeah, Tag was a great kid. There's been so many names that have come out of this league. I mean, Steve Yzerman, for example, played in this league. Darren McCarty, Connor McDavid, Alex DeBrincat, Patrick Kane, Alex Nedeljkovic.
And I think when these young players, they're 16, 17 years old, see something like that, I'm sure. I mean, obviously they're a lot more athletic than I ever was, but like they're
same.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Hand up.
Yeah, but it's one of those things like they're seeing these examples of like what they could accomplish if they work hard enough and are talented enough. Which, on top of it all, hockey I think is one I watch. I don't understand hockey as much because I'm from the South originally,
right? But
I watch these guys on ice skates, like thin blades, with a stick hitting a very small puck. I'm like, at least when I played soccer, it was a giant ball.
Yeah, right. And they're moving a million miles an hour. They're getting hit, whacked, held. I mean,
it is.
They can fight. I mean,
right.
It's crazy. It's crazy fun. I actually love it.
I think it's the best sport to watch live, personally.
I don't have any arguments there.
I can see that.
So great.
Yeah, it's fast. It doesn't stop moving unless there's obviously a whistle or something like that. But it's not like NFL football or baseball where it's one play, 40 seconds, one play, 40 seconds.
Right.
Well, and I think you all have also created such a great atmosphere that like we could take our families and enjoy it, and especially for someone that doesn't understand hockey as much, still have fun just watching the game. Yep. But then you have people that have been going for years, that are season ticket holders since the Firebirds have existed, and those people are passionate, understand the game, probably played themselves at some point too. So I like it that it's an atmosphere. It seems like everybody can go enjoy it.
It's very engaging.
It is.
It's very engaging. And the arena, the Door Financial Center, is absolutely stunning by comparison to how I remember it as a kid. Going to the IMA, it was like, we got some flickering lights. We got a little bit of this. The only thing that looks the same is the bathrooms.
There's been some updates. Yeah.
So I'll have to get back.
So there you go. You can check back later when you go to a game.
But
we removed the chalkboard scoreboard. Probably what you remember from.
There you go. There you go.
I can only imagine.
But it's so many visceral memories because I grew up in Lapeer, so we were 20 some odd minutes away. But going over there, as a kid, I felt like I was going down to the former Joe Louis Arena. I'm like, oh man, this is so much fun.
Yes.
Then you get out there, and I remember being at one game, again, being 8, 9 years old, and they dropped the puck and everybody dropped their gloves and everybody's just beating the living piss out of each other, which I thought was amazing.
As a kid, you're like, yes.
I'm like, heck yeah. But now as you go back and we really watch, the competitiveness and like you made mention, the athleticism, the speed, the things that they do is just so much fun and it's so engaging.
It really is. Well, and I like how you guys do the I-75.
Yeah, the Coors Light I-75 Divide Cup with sponsored by Coors Light.
Very nice.
With our rival right up north, the Saginaw Spirit.
We don't have to mention them if we don't want to.
It's fine.
It's okay. Yeah, but I do like that too. That it's one that when I have friends that live up that way, and we can kind of like, I don't understand. Like once again, I don't understand hockey as much, but like talk about it and you'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's always on TV when they're talking about it, and the giant trophy that travels and stuff like that. So it's
go ahead.
Multi cities.
Yeah.
And I mean the league's I feel like huge.
Yep.
I feel like when I look at the schedule, seeing the places that the teams
it's crazy.
travel to.
It's crazy. They bus everywhere too.
Do they really?
Yeah.
They're young. They can handle busing.
Yeah.
Again, on a bus.
That's not my cup of tea.
No.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, it's kind of what you're saying, Travis. It's really important for us to have a platform where it's family friendly entertainment. Yeah. We have so many different promotions that can engage so many different communities and types of people.
Yeah.
So that's something that we consistently try to build on year in and year out.
Okay.
Along with, the Coors Light I-75 Divide Cup, similar to what you mentioned, it gives us an opportunity to engage two cities that have clearly had a rivalry for years. Dating all the way back to the Saginaw Gears? Saginaw Gears, Flint Generals,
right.
from what I remember.
I'm looking at the old guy in the room.
Yeah, no, valid.
Yeah.
Valid. I just remember the Flint Spirit. And it was like white and gray and green were kind of the colors. That's what I remember. I didn't go to a whole lot of Generals games because I had moved out of the area a little bit. But now being able to go back and watch the Firebirds, and this is what I think I really want to convey to the listeners. Going to this it's like going to an NHL game.
Mm-hmm.
The presentation, the graphics, the intros, the intermissions, the cameras, the music. You take the play aspect out of it because you can go to a hockey game and you can watch that anywhere. You can go watch a beer league game if you want. But conversely, going to this is a full-on production.
Yes, it is.
And you guys have done a hell of a job with it. And I really, really enjoy it.
I feel like when I drive by on game nights, it's the parking lot's packed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how many people can you guys fit in?
Seated, we can fit 3,939.
That's amazing.
And
That's
we're about
great.
4,200 with standing room.
Awesome.
And,
that's right there. And I'm sure it's packed every time there's a game. And which is great. And I noticed you guys do a lot of things in the community too when people are coming as well. And I think I always think of like is it like the teddy bear toss or stuffed animal toss?
Yeah. All right, that's not hitting the pause button because that's my question. He's killing me over
I'm trying to help you lead into this.
I don't need any help. I'm a professional.
Yeah, but just to touch on one more thing, what our owner has done since obtaining the team and bringing it here to Flint from when it was in Plymouth. And then ultimately purchasing the building at the same time. If you remember coming to maybe the first couple of years of the Flint Firebirds organization and in the franchise, between 2015 and 2020, I would say, since prior to the COVID break, our arena it was. He did a lot of updates to that.
Yes.
And then coming out of COVID, now we had the opportunity to obtain the seats from the Palace before they tore that down.
Oh, man.
Along with the LED board, too.
Okay.
So our owner has continuously invested into this community and yet alone this building to make it a place to where people can come and be wowed.
Right.
And see the full production, kind of like what Johnny mentioned. There's so many moving parts that go into this to make it look like it's seamless and easy.
Right.
And truthfully, I always like to use the metaphor of, how a duck's just floating on the pond, right? Yeah. It looks so easy and calm, but really under the water, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes, it's not always chaos, but our team does a fantastic job
to lot of
remedy
parts.
Any issues. Right. And there's always inherent challenges when not everything goes as planned as always.
You don't say.
Coming from a man in real estate, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
But our team does a fantastic job from our game day production to our in-house broadcast to our play-by-play announcer and all the advertisements. I can't say good enough things about our team that we have there too.
That's fantastic.
Along with the support of our owner.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so imperative.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You'll see, I mean, just from going in and finding things to update it and make it a lot different from the way you mentioned growing up and seeing how it is. And I think makes it more where my kids say, can we go to a game?
Yeah.
Because they know it's a place we feel comfortable taking them and going to it. And you guys have made it into something.
It's such an amazing family-friendly event.
Right. And when you guys also host so many other community events there too, which I love seeing that. But the hockey's the main focus.
Yeah, it is for me, especially this time.
Yeah, mine as well. But there's always other events that we're always included.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so let's jump into our questions. So we actually, we're professionals. We established some questions.
We come up with a few of them.
Just a few of them. Thanks to my friend ChatGPT, we can always, calculate some good stuff here. So Travis just hit on it, but can you share how your role at the Flint Firebirds has allowed you to impact the local community, especially through initiatives like the Teacher Appreciation Nights, scholarships, and one of my favorites, like the Teddy Bear Toss, which is amazing?
Yeah, so we kind of, like I mentioned before, we pride ourselves in a lot of the promotions that we do put together. I mean, there's so many different ones that multiple different organizations, communities, along with job employment stuff can take advantage of a lot of different community support initiatives that we do. So similar to what you're mentioning, the Teddy Bear Toss, I mean, I believe that we collected over 1,300 teddy bears this year.
Amazing.
That's an
which was a
amazing
record. And then we take our players out to local community organizations like Whaley or Enna Center for the Children, Voices for Children, Hurley Children's Hospital, and make those donations that our fans were generous enough to bring those teddy bears to the game, throw them on. It's the one time that they get to throw something on the ice. So they're pretty excited.
They want to take advantage of that, right?
Yeah. Or the one time we encourage it.
We encourage it, yes.
Right.
So our fans are generous enough to provide us with the opportunity to take those teddy bears out and donate them back to those families in needs or the children that just needs a little comfort and a smile or something like that.
And I can only imagine as a child that here comes this, in my reference, a kid also, like wearing a hockey uniform, bringing them a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
That probably has to be one of the coolest experiences for them. They might not watch hockey, understand it, but this is this kid that they know is a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Coming to spend some time with them. And I think like those little things make a big difference.
Of course.
Not only in the community, but to families that really are impacted by a lot.
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. And for the kids, it's probably like seeing a celebrity.
Yeah.
They don't know, but they do know, like, oh man, this guy, he plays hockey professionally, things like that. Well, and a quick side note, my son had an appendectomy at Hurley and he got a teddy bear there. So there's a real possibility that came from, one of the teddy bear toss nights, which is fantastic.
It could have been. And sometimes it's not even a hero that they know that they needed at the same time.
Right.
I mean, for example, I touched on one of the 7 NHL draft players that we have. I mean, lo and behold, maybe one of the teddy bears that was delivered to that kid, they might see this player playing the NHL in 4 years, right?
Well,
so the impact is crazy.
It is. And probably for the players themselves, it's good for them. Especially being so young, some of them, getting the experience to encourage them to get out, get involved in the community and experience so many different avenues that you guys, I think that probably makes a big difference in their lives too. I mean, they're young and they're still need to experience a lot of things and get it started early and showing that this is what a professional organization does.
Yeah.
They care about their community, they get involved and help out in so many ways.
Well, and that's a great transition into the next question. Looking at the fundraising successes that you guys have had, you yourself, as well as your team and everybody over there have played such a significant role in raising over $1 million for local charities. Can you highlight, and I'm sure it's probably difficult, but could you highlight like one of your favorite events that you guys have done where you've raised, a substantial amount of money?
It's a great question. I personally like all of the jersey auctions that we do.
Nice.
Those are a lot of fun. I have a pretty heavy hand in designing and working with a lot of the game night sponsors and partners to help develop and design these jerseys of what we do. So I would like to say probably my most favorite jersey that we have done was probably the ones for Folds of Honor that we did a few years ago for
nice.
Military
yes.
Appreciation Night. That was a very cool looking jersey, and obviously it means a lot. All the proceeds went back to the Folds of Honor program, supporting veterans and the fallen veterans, supporting their families and stuff like that. And then our most recent one that we did, which is always a ton of fun, is Flint Tropics Night.
Oh, Flint
Oh,
Tropics.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Yep.
go.
That's-
Now we're
I love
talking.
this.
Yeah,
Oh.
yep. So we just did that one last
Yes.
Saturday. I mean, the jersey auctions do very well. So having a hand in that is a lot of fun. I mean, yet alone, there's so many other different things that we do. I mean, the 50-50 every game.
Yeah.
I mean, we make a ton of donations to nonprofits, or even like the Davison Chamber Golf outing.
Yeah. So you guys have been involved
I mean,
with that
there's-
for the past 2 years, which has been great.
There's so many different things that we do to help support local nonprofits, organizations, to help out those that need help.
Yeah.
In multiple different ways.
Right. Well, and that's so great to see, just because you're part of the community. So you have to give back to the community.
Of course.
And I think that aspect of reciprocity, you know, you guys are so appreciative for the attendance, the volunteerism, the fundraising, all of those things, that you have an opportunity to give back, and you guys don't shy away from that. So
No.
hats off to you guys, your team, your organization
Thank
for
you.
doing that.
I mean, we're one of the 2 sports teams in Genesee County.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we play 34 games a year, and ever since the inception of the team, I mean, we've always tried to pride ourselves on becoming a fabric of the community,
Yeah.
and yet alone trying to become a pillar of the community, to realize, or to inform people that this is a fun event to go to.
Yep.
And then how you can support multiple different nonprofits, organizations in so many different ways.
Yeah.
By just attending a game.
No, I think that's great.
That was great. Well, and Dominic, your career has probably changed so much over the years with everything you've done, but even with the Firebirds. I mean, I think from our conversations, you started off with doing merchandising and moving your way up to director of marketing now.
Yep.
So how has your past roles prepared you for your current responsibilities, and what lessons have you learned along the way?
You know, I think it's taught me a lot of different things. Nobody wants to be a one-trick pony, right?
Right.
So it helps me from the position that I am now to have an understanding of sometimes where some people are struggling, or where they may need help at, and yet alone celebrate the successes that they have. So as you mentioned, I started in merchandising. Shortly thereafter that, I got into ticket sales in a business development account executive sort of way. Then after that, I started to really dip my feet into the corporate sales side of things,
Okay.
which I would like to think that I flourish, and it's something that I truly enjoy.
Yeah.
And now with marketing, it's a bit different, to say the least, as far as the graphic design side of things, and working with our designers for our social graphics, our in-house graphics, our billboards, and just about everything else that we push out, along from the side of things of the game day side of things, the sponsorship deliveries, and all that different stuff. I would like to say one of the things that I've truly learned, I would say recently, is to really try to just slow things down.
Okay.
And just look at things from multiple different views, and have an understanding of why someone might not think this will work, but how do we take these ideas and implement them in a manner to where it can be presentable, and then put it forth to the community or to the market, and bring it into a game and stuff like that.
Well, I think, I mean, even like the staff aspect as a team as well. I mean, you have all your years of experience at different levels. I'm sure it's a good kind of like mentor program as well for someone that's starting off in tickets or merchandise.
Yeah.
You can relate to what they're going through, but they might be bringing some new ideas.
Of course.
And I feel like you guys have created an atmosphere for something like that. And it seems like it's something that's built a good career for you, because you have a passion for what that organization is doing as a whole.
Yeah, it's something that I really pride myself on. I've been the longest tenured employee, at least in our front office staff, minus our finance director and our team president and building arena general manager. He's been there for a really long time.
Sure.
But it's taught me a lot of different things, and again, those are things that whenever the time does come for me to move on to maybe stepping up to a different league or a different team, or just ultimately moving on to a different career path, it can teach me a lot of different skills, and I can implement those almost anywhere I go.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
That's great. Yeah. So now through that, you talk about your role now and building those relationships and partnerships throughout the community and probably the region as well. So what is it, developing a strong corporate partnership? How is that crucial in your line of work? And what strategies have you found that have been most effective in kind of maintaining those relationships and partnerships?
Developing the partnerships, it's much like real estate, right?
Sure.
I mean, you have to build the trust. You have to present yourself in a respectable manner.
Mhm.
I'll also
Was that a low key bash at my flip flops?
No,
Let's be clear here.
no, I thoroughly enjoy the flip flops.
Yes.
If you were wearing flip flops a couple weeks ago, hats off to you, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
That I was.
Yeah. I could not do that. Yet alone I work in an ice rink.
Yeah. Right.
You work in a frozen
Yeah,
office,
yeah.
basically.
Right.
It was cold there for a few days.
Yes.
But kind of like what I was saying, just building those relationships and building the trust into those partners, along with providing them a service.
Right.
It's a unique way. I touched on it again earlier. I mean, we play 34 games a season. Our average attendance has been right over 2,900 for the season.
That's amazing.
There's nowhere
great,
else.
yes.
I mean, we like to say there's nowhere else in Genesee County where you're having week in, week out, 2,900 plus people
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
being able to come into a venue. And much like I said earlier with the updates that we've done, I'd like to say the impression value is darn near 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't walk in there and you can't miss anything. It's in your face. It's a small, cozy, intimate building.
Yep.
And blinking, flashing lights.
Well, and there's not a bad seat in the
There's
house,
really not at all.
which
there's-
is fantastic.
Oh, it's
so much
it's
fun.
the perfect arena. I wish. Yeah, I'll
It's-
get to that other
that's-
side of the story here
that's-
soon. But I mean, kind of like what I was saying, just building those relationships and providing them the service that they need, along with servicing those relationships. It's very important to stay in contact with them and asking them what they need.
Right.
If there's anything that I can do for them, or what else that if they need to change their advertisement due to a change in their marketing campaign and stuff like that.
Right.
Sure.
I like to kind of pride myself to be, yet alone a good employee, but a better person at the same time,
Mhm.
and just almost be a man of your word.
Yeah.
If you're going to sell something, or if I'm going to sell something, I want it to be presented in the manner that I sold it. And us as an organization, we pride ourselves in that.
I guess
Well,
because you're
that's a great transition to being like, do what you say and say what you do.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Just follow through.
Yeah.
And sadly, in today's corporate world, at times people talk a lot. They don't
Mhm.
always deliver.
Yep.
So under promise, over deliver.
Yep.
right.
Absolutely.
And we've had an overwhelming amount of support of corporate supporters here in Genesee County, and I can't say thank you enough. I thoroughly enjoy working with every single one of my accounts, and
I gotta say,
it's-
it probably it changes, and you're learning new things about them every year,
of course,
and because of that relationship, and figuring out what their interests are, like you mentioned, and then what their current needs are.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a fascinating aspect. I know, like on the chamber side,
Yeah.
where we're interacting with so many business and organizations, that you really do get to learn a lot about something maybe you didn't know about before.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for you, even if you've had a relationship with one company for a long time, like you said, their marketing's changing, their
Yeah.
focus is changing.
Yeah.
Well, even probably who their contact is. And I think that's probably a challenge, but something that you and the Firebirds have succeeded at is figuring out ways to make sure those sponsors and partnerships feel comfortable where they are and being involved with an organization like the Firebirds.
for sure. And another thing too is it's always, Genesee County as a whole is always evolving.
Yep.
So picking up the phone and calling a new business that I've never heard of, and having the opportunity to learn about who they are, yet alone the service that they provide. It's much like the chamber, right?
Right.
I mean, you're kind of just growing your network. You're presenting what you may be able to do for them, but maybe ultimately it doesn't pan out.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe later down the road, you know what? I need a new furnace.
Yeah.
And who am I going to call?
Right.
And I called
Such-
so and so
right, exactly.
a while back ago. You know what? I'm going to give this person a call back and
Yes.
and see maybe just get a quote or something like that. So I mean it opens up the door for so many different
does.
things, and you meet a lot of new people, a lot of different people. And ultimately I think it's almost shaped me into the person that I am too, to have those different conversations and learning how to connect with people in multiple different ways.
Yep,
Well,
absolutely.
And I think that's a good part right there, Dominic. So what is that kind of what drives you to keep succeeding and being motivated to better the community through yourself and the organization? And how do you balance those roles with your personal life? I mean, because we all have to do that.
Mhm.
We have to enjoy your own personal time, probably away from it, especially when you're at a game when there's thousands of people there and a lot going on behind the scenes. You also
Mhm.
need your own personal time. So how do you balance everything, and what motivates you in kind of being successful and keep driving what the organization wants to focus on?
So I'll start with the my drive. My drive, I grew up here right in the city of Flint. Grew up on the south side of Flint over by the Flint Golf Club.
Okay.
So kind of right there, right behind Piranhas.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oddly enough, I started skating when I was about 4 years old. The first place I ever put on a pair of skates was actually at probably what you guys would know as the IMA.
Okay.
Now the Dordt Financial
Yeah.
Center. But that was the first place I ever put on a pair of skates. Absolutely fell in love with the game. Grew up playing hockey for all of my life at a competitive level, and now having the opportunity to work for the hometown team gives me a lot of pride and opportunity to give back to the game that I grew up loving and still love to this day, along with providing a platform for other kids to come in and family members to come in and gift the opportunity to fall in love with this game, much like I did at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a great point in that if you love what you do, it doesn't truly feel like work.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our days, we all have our instances where things get a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you really love what you do, work doesn't feel like the quote unquote work that we grew up hearing people talk about, like, oh, I got to go to work again.
Yeah. I think we all have those days.
We
right?
do.
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
It's I mean our season's really long. It's 34 home games a year, 34 road games. I mean 68 games total plus playoffs.
That's
So
a
it's
long season, a long time to.
It's very long. It's a lot of Saturdays. It's a lot of late nights, early mornings. And I guess to touch kind of how I balance it is I try to just spend a lot of time at home.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife and I'm fortunate to have a fantastic wife. Hi, Jamie. But I mean, we go work out in the morning together, just about every morning, Monday through Friday.
Awesome.
I like that.
Mostly Saturdays too. And then, I mean, I'll go to work shortly thereafter that. If it's a Friday, Saturday game, especially on Saturdays, since she's primarily at home. I'll go in a little bit later, probably around, let's say 1, 2 o'clock,
Right.
get the stuff done that I need to get done prior to the game. And then it's kind of just right into the game flow of things. Right.
Right.
And then Sundays, we, actually, it's probably one of my favorite things that we do now. We started doing like our own soup Sunday thing.
Oh, nice.
I like
So we
this.
just make a different soup every single Sunday.
Okay.
We kind of just pick one out. We go grocery shopping together.
That's
And
awesome.
then just and make it together. So it's one of my favorite things that we do.
lunch or dinner at Dominic's house on
Yeah,
Sundays.
100%.
Yeah.
Right,
It
well,
sounds
the next time I
delicious, right?
come in, I'll bring a.
There you go.
If we schedule on a Monday, I can bring you a fresh.
Okay, I like
There
this.
you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's a lot. So learning how to balance the work-life flow. It's always ever evolving, right?
Right.
And kind of like I mentioned, sometimes it can be a very demanding job. As far as time, especially, I mean, I don't necessarily get to, hey, what are you doing Saturday night? Do you want to go out to dinner with my wife and a couple of friends? I'm sorry, unfortunately, I can't. I have to work.
Right.
But it's the reason I'm still here is because I absolutely love what I do.
Right.
Kind of like I said, it's providing the atmosphere of something that I grew up loving and still love to this day. And obviously trying to provide an atmosphere where people can come in and enjoy themselves.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there's just, it's very welcoming there. That's what I love about it. It doesn't feel quote unquote overwhelming. You know, you go down to, my wife and I were at Ford Field for a Lions game, or, you know, you go down to LCA and it's just massive.
Yeah.
The scale is so much larger. Whereas here, you know, we're right basically in our backyard. You can go there. It's much more cost effective. You know, that's one thing that I noticed. I haven't been in any games this year, but last year when I took the family, I mean, I think I spent $20 and the kids had popcorn and cookies and drinks and I'm like, wow, this is extremely cost effective. So I do give a lot of credit to the organization, your owner, you know, for not, you know, pillaging people in trying to like maximize every single ounce of return, you know, because that in and of itself is a give back to the community when you can make things affordable, when we're seeing prices ever increase across the board for all sorts of commodities. You guys have put yourself in a position where it's very cost effective. And I have a wife and 4 kids, you know, so for 6 of us to even go out to dinner, you know, we're looking at $100 plus.
Yeah.
Whereas to go to a game, we could spend damn near that same amount and have multiple hours of entertainment and enjoyment.
Yeah. It's something that we, as I mentioned multiple times, it's really something that we pride ourselves on.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, going to the movies now is darn near $100. I'm guessing with a family of 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
So being able to provide an opportunity of get alone family friendly entertainment, but extremely cost effective to come in and have a nice fun night, whether if you're a raving hockey fan or not, it offers you the opportunity, whether, I mean, kind of like you don't even have to watch the game, but it's fun to be in an atmosphere where everyone's having fun. It's not truly over loud. It's not truly overstimulating, similar to maybe what a Lions game would be. Our fans aren't as, they can be as rabid, but not as rabid as what NFL Lions fans are. So just being able to provide the cost-effective, family-friendly entertainment is something that we pride ourselves.
I think that's what I love about it. Because my kids have already asked when we're going to a game.
Right.
When I was talking about this podcast, like, well, when are we going to go? Like, well, we'll work it out. Let's look at some dates. We'll get it worked out. But it's nice to know that that's an easy one to say, yes, we can do that, because
of course
it is. It's very, my family can fit in there and we don't watch hockey and it's affordable for us. And we have 4 of us. So you beat me on your number there, but
I'm an overachiever. What can I say?
but they love going, and they'll talk to their friends, and their friends are going, and and I have a middle schooler and then a kid that's in elementary school, so it's a wide range of interests, but they both want to go. So it's like, you both want to do something together. Sign me up for it. So, exactly.
So as we finish up today's podcast, 2 things. 1, who do I have to talk to or bribe to get a Zamboni ride?
I think I can help you with that.
Okay.
But you have to come to a game first.
That's fine.
We'll go to the game, right? Yeah.
How am I going to get you on the Zamboni? If you
I mean, at
this
point, I'll buy season tickets for the 6 of us. I don't care, as long as I can ride that Zamboni.
All right. You heard it here first.
That's right. That's right. Put my feet to the fire.
Yeah.
And then number 2, you know, one of the things we wanted to do with our guests was we wanted to also give back to our listeners.
Yes.
So listeners, this is an opportunity where you guys can get something from the Flint Firebirds. Why don't you tell us what you brought with us today, and then we'll explain how we're going to get it to you as far as the listeners.
So I brought 4 of my personal tickets to a Flint Firebirds game on Saturday, February 15th at 7 p.m. versus the Guelph Storm, I believe.
Okay.
And then a $25 gift card to our merchandise store.
Oh man. I get some swag. Some swag. you know what?
Make
This is
sure
one of-
Johnny gives it away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
what I was
know.
going to say. Now I actually have to make sure somebody else gets
we
it.
have the honor system double here. I can pay
Yeah.
attention to make sure.
I'll
yeah.
just be like, Travis, nobody signed up. I guess I'm just going to have to take care of these on my own.
Right. Oh, I'll write you out.
Well, Travis has a family of 4.
Yeah. Oh, see, this works out perfect.
Yeah, well,
No.
2 of my kids are my favorites. So
Oh.
I'll take those 2.
But this is great. I'm
Just kidding, babe. I love you. That's not true at all.
I'm excited. We had talked about this, and being our first guest, we're like, hey, would you be willing to bring something that the Firebirds could give back to the community and be part of the podcast? And you automatically said yes. So I think we're excited about that part.
Yeah, we appreciate the hell out of that.
We do.
Because
Of
again,
course.
you know, it's not about us. It's about the listeners. It's about your organization. That's what we're here to showcase. So what we'll end up doing is when we post this episode, we'll have it on YouTube and on Facebook.
Yes.
And then it'll be streaming everywhere on the podcasting platform. So Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all the places. What you can do is we'll have a link in the show notes or in like that first comment where you can go in, you can register on our site. And from there, we're going to pick a winner. We'll probably give it a week. Thank you for not making the tickets like tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that we have time to
Yeah,
let
this is
people
a little
listen.
space, right? Yes.
Yep. So follow the link in the show notes, go in there, register. We're just going to need a name and an email address. And then we're going to pick a random winner. And maybe we'll do it live, or maybe I'll record a reel. We'll figure that
Figure out
out.
some fun way to announce it, because that's exciting. Win something.
Absolutely.
You want that to be fun.
Oh,
Yes.
100%. And, you know, we'll do it how they have like the little spinny wheel, the random number generator type thing. We'll do that so nobody thinks there's any nepotism or anything crazy.
And our names can't be in on that.
That's right. I don't want anybody.
Disclaimer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't want anybody to think that I wrote my name down 50 some odd times in a hat and then I draw it out and be like, oh, look at that. I'm
Johnny
the winner.
won.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So, Dominic, thank you so much for coming out
Yes.
today. You know, there was no question about the commitment to the community, but being able to have this conversation with you and truly understand the motivations
Yeah.
and the ambitions behind what your ownership and your executive leadership team have put in place is just stunning. And I love to see it, you know, legitimately from our Remax Edge studios here. We're less than 10 minutes away.
We are.
And it's so great to have something in our community that allows us the opportunity to go and visit 34 times a year on top of the other external events that are going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's on any given night that one of the 34 games that Johnny may come to.
Yeah. Right.
He
It's a mystery.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, you might see the next superstar of the NHL.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's truly an amazing league. It's an amazing product of hockey. And I encourage everyone that's listening to attend a game and see what it's all about.
Yeah. It's gonna be a blast. I'm super excited. I'm gonna ride that Zamboni. So
Oh,
Yeah.
we're
man.
gonna work that out
Okay,
offline.
here's the question though: when someone rides a Zamboni, can they wear flip flops or do they have closed-toe shoes
That's a great question.
for safety concerns?
How about we just don't ask that question?
Well, he
I'm
does-
just gonna show up.
He's just gonna show up.
He does sign a waiver, so maybe if anything, we just
waiver. There you go.
Yeah, we just put some tape on his flip flops so they don't fall off.
I like
and,
it.
and
Perfect.
get chewed
Oh,
up.
I can curl my toes.
Yeah.
They're not going
Yeah.
anywhere.
We don't sell shoes at the arena, so I'd hate for him to be walking around barefoot.
Maybe I'll go for your backup, and
Yeah.
if you can't ride it.
Yeah.
Nope, that's not
Oh.
happening at all.
Well, good. Well, Dominic, thank you so much. We love,
Yeah.
I mean, we know about the Firebirds a little bit, but I think here we see the passion of the Firebirds
Mhm.
in our communities, the passion on the ice, especially young kids that have potential to really grow in that sport, but then the passion of the team that's behind the scenes that we don't always see. So we appreciate you taking some time and just kind of sharing your passion and your excitement for what you do and being part of the Firebirds team.
Of course. Thank you for providing me a little time and inviting me to come share some nuggets about the Flint Firebirds
absolutely.
Oh, perfect.
organization and kind of, I guess, get to hang out with you guys for a
I
little
like
bit.
it.
It's a blast. We have
It
a good
is.
time doing it. It's a very self-indulgent podcast, but you know what? We have a damn good time doing it.
We do.
Yeah. I met a man that wears flip flops in the middle.
Year round.
That's right. That's right. I am unique unto my own, without a doubt. So I am Johnny B. Good with the Community Collective Podcast with
Travis Howell.
my man Travis.
Oh, yes.
Dominic, thank you again for coming out, man. We are looking forward to having you on again in the future.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you guys at Firebirds games.
That's
Yes.
right. Damn
Yep.
straight.
Yes.
With me on the Zamboni and
Oh,
my
yes.
flip-flops.
All right.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. This is the Community Collective Podcast. Bye-bye.